Eventually, I fell into a deep depression. It kind of felt like a rug just got swept from under me. Politics in the Middle East is really complicated, and especially in Yemen. Yemen currently is suffering the world's largest humanitarian catastrophe. When you look at the numbers of casualties, it's daunting. But what's especially terrifying is how few people even know what's going on. One of the primary motivations with going to this Olympic qualifier, with hoisting the Yemeni flag on the international scene, is to bring awareness to Yemen.
"2021 will mark the first time skateboarding has been included in the Olympic Games. Ryan Sanabani is a skateboarder from Yemen, which is home to the world's largest ongoing humanitarian crisis. Now he is training for Tokyo, hoping to use the world's biggest stage to bring attention to his home country. What Ryan really wants isn't a gold medal. He wants representation. For Ryan, he's one of very few Yemeni skateboarders, and for me, I can definitely relate to that because I was one of the only African Americans in the gym, and it's always nice to relate to someone who looks like you because, you know, everyone has different backgrounds, different cultures, and different vibes. When you have someone who has the same background and culture as you, it's always nice when you can share that bond with that person.
Woo! Thanks, man.
More than anything, Ryan wants to represent his community for the world to see Yemen and to recognize the plight of his people.
My name is Ryan Sanabani, and I'm from Yemen. My parents divorced when I was fairly young, and my mother moved to Spain. I remember visiting my mom one summer. I must have been like 13. I remember just begging my mom, like, I have to get a skateboard, please. It was like my last day in Spain. I bought some like no-name board, and I took it back to Yemen. I think skateboarding is novel for kids anywhere, but you take a skateboard to Yemen and you're actually riding it and doing ollies, that's like, oh my God. So from ollies, started learning kickflips. From there, I started hitting the streets more and more often. I remember just rolling down the streets and just turning heads as people are just like, whoa, that kid's actually riding the board pretty fast. Whoa, how did that happen? And slowly but surely, you start making friends and start building a crew. Every once in a while, some religious cleric or elder would come up and be like, don't you think that you're denying your own Arabic heritage to try to be more like the Western kids? At the end of the day, we live in a globalized society. Everything is for everybody. Of course, as we got better and better with the years and started olling down big stair sets, we could hardly go anywhere in Sana'a without gathering like a large crew of people that would just come and watch. Kids will start dancing if you do a big jump off those stairs. A lot of the times the kids would ask us, so how are you lifting the board off the ground? How is this possible? And I don't remember who started it or how, but we started telling the kids that it was the jinn. The jinn are like these fairy creatures that we believe in the Middle East. Kind of like genie. The word genie comes from a jinn. We're using their powers to lift the skateboard off the floor. In fact, when the kickflip was first invented in the US, it was called a magic flip. So same thing, you know, we're just like, yeah, we're doing it with magic. We're communicating with the jinn. Eventually, we started getting a little bit more organized. We put up a Facebook group called Arabian Skaters Yemen, trying to get skateboards for whomever we could, just making it happen like that.
A decade later, Yemen is now the largest humanitarian crisis in the world. The peaceful protests of the Arab Spring escalated into a civil war, ripping the country in two.
It kind of felt like a rug just got swept from under me unexpectedly. People couldn't agree. Civil war broke out, the Houthis moved into Sana'a. You know, things just got complicated.
The Houthi rebels have seized the capital, Ryan's home city of Sana'a. As violence continues to escalate, over 250,000 people have already died in the conflict.
Year after year, it just gets worse and worse. And peace talks fail more, and violence erupts again. Eventually, I fell into a deep depression.
Ryan's country was torn apart right as he entered college in the United States.
I was like, all right, the Arab Spring is happening now. I'm starting college. Surely by the time I graduate, things will have settled and I'll be able to go back home and carry on with all the things I was doing. But as the years went on, it just got worse and worse. I still don't know what our country's gonna look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years, whether we're even gonna have a single country left to begin with.
Unable to return to Yemen, Ryan and his brother, Adam, now live in Richmond, Virginia.
So what would you say this dish is called? We just called it like sandwich bayd, sandwich batat, and then if you were fancy, you did sandwich bayd batat. So what it essentially translates to is a sandwich of potato and egg. It's like even with skateboards, you know, khashab abu ajal, which literally just means the wheels on the wood.
Ryan's immediate family was able to safely leave Yemen.
There you go.
But there's no timetable for when they can return.
At the end of the day, we are like unbelievably fortunate. I'm really grateful that, you know, we didn't have to endure like a lot of the violence, a lot of the conflict, the starvation. I mean, we still lost family members, but at a certain point, you don't even know how to feel sad anymore, you know?
It's draining, man.
Like,
Draining.
shouldn't I be crying now and you're not anymore? Or like, shouldn't I be posting about, you know, Ashbat's death or...
There's a certain level of guilt in my mind for having gotten out when a lot of people that I love and care about are kind of stuck over there. But man, I would not want to be over there and just hear the jets going on top of you and wondering whether this is going to be it. Bombs coming, having to find a corner under a stair or whatever.
Like, we're so lucky that we got to get away.
But definitely traumatized and scarred and wounded from it.
Yeah.
Finishing touches.
Yalla, bismillah.
Bismillah.
While Ryan has been unable to return to Yemen, the Tokyo Olympics have provided a rare opportunity to reconnect with his home country.
I guess eventually we just skated in Yemen so much that we made a name for ourselves on the internet. And here I am years later, and all of a sudden out of the blue, I get a WhatsApp message. This is Kenny Reed, former professional skateboarder. Would you be interested in an event like this? Mind blown right then and there, you know. I was like, no way, this can't be real.
As one of the pioneers of skateboarding in Yemen, Ryan not only has a chance to represent Yemen at the Olympics, he now has a professional skateboarder coaching him.
Hey, coach.
So we're looking at going to Iowa on May 16th. The competition's going to be 4 days, and this will be our opportunity to get Olympic qualifying points. And our chance is going to be during the first few days. It's called the Open Qualifier.
The Tokyo Olympics will feature two styles of skateboarding, park and street. Street competitions are run on a course full of stairs, handrails, curbs, and slopes. Ryan is a street skater, and there are 20 slots in the men's street bracket. Since each nation can only have a maximum of 3 skaters, and most of the world's top skateboarders are from just a few countries, Ryan has a chance to grab one of those last remaining slots as Team Yemen.
Creativity in a format like this really shines better than doing the most technical trick or the hardest trick. We'll have 2 runs, 45 seconds each to qualify. So right now we're going to concentrate on getting our 45-second runs.
All right, Yemen to Tokyo. We got this. If I go to Tokyo with a Yemeni flag, it would mean a lot to Yemeni people. Yemeni people are very proud anytime Yemen in general is seen on the international stage in a positive light, or in any light at all. Like once Yemen was mentioned in the TV show Friends.
I'm packing because I'm moving to Yemen tomorrow.
And it was just one of the characters dismissing Yemen as an imaginary country that he made up.
Yemen, that actually sounds like a real country.
Yemenis went crazy for that, like, hey, we got mentioned in the series of Friends. So little things like that, like for a small country like Yemen, is always amazing. So to be there in the most important international event in the world, that would be so powerful. At the moment, it's all self-funded. Yemen is in a really tough position. You know, I can't be going to the Yemeni government asking for funding for these kinds of things.
What Ryan does have in his corner is a familiar face to help him train and join him in Iowa.
Latter years of my time in Yemen, I was, teaching a lot of younger kids skateboarding, and Amr was one of them. For a long time, I used to call Amr Mini-Me because, he would come in and pop the same tricks I was doing. And out of all the people from that original crew, I think only 2 of us that I know have continued skating, and that's myself and him.
He was actually one of my inspirations in Yemen when it comes to skateboarding, because I would, kind of observe what he's doing there and, kind of learn. As soon as I got here, I had no one, no friends. And then Ryan happened to be at the same state that I was in.
By crazy miracles, we both ended up a couple hours drive away, so it's really special for us that all these years later, we're gonna be representing Yemen at an Olympic qualifier. We are going to have a long overdue game of skate. It's essentially like a game of horse. If he lands a trick, then I have to try and do it as well. If I fail, then I get a letter. S-K-A-T-E. Whoever gets to E first loses. We're not gonna bet anything because we're good Muslims and Muslims don't gamble.
Yeah, no gambling. Haram.
Haram.
Hajara, what a gum gus.
Got you. All right, let's start simple. Being able to meet here today, it's really special. We've been through a lot of the same things. We understand where we come from and, you know, kind of what we went through back in the day in Yemen.
Toe touch. What? That was a toe touch. You gotta redo. Hey, just because I don't have my glasses on doesn't mean I can't see.
How we're just in a completely different country now. Our lives have entirely changed, and yet here we are still skating. We can still speak Arabic to each other, and we're still in Yemenis. That's really special.
Damn. Unexpected.
So when I first came to the US, I was a lot more loud and just like, oh, hey, I'm from Yemen, and this is how we do things there. And, you know, eventually you just start kind of muting it and toning it down and being a little less colorful or loud about your origins and, you know, where you're from and everything. I mean, the racism in the US sometimes is like subtle. It's very subtle things that wear over time. I remember thinking when I was coming to the US, like, okay, I speak English, I've seen all the movies, you know, I'll be totally fine, there won't be any culture shock or anything. Then I came here and was like, holy shit. Honestly, one of the biggest culture shocks for me when I came here was how segregated things were. Have anybody ever told you some like fucked up racist shit?
Racist stuff? Absolutely.
I remember skating down the street, and there were some like just students down up on a porch, and as I skated past them, they were like, "What are you, a fucking terrorist?"
Damn.
I always liked wearing the shawl anyways, and I kind of found myself slowly not wearing it, but to people it's like it immediately makes you this like super separate, distinguished like thing. Despite the friendliness of skateboarders, sometimes I do feel out of place. It's like this bubble of fashion and style and attitudes. برد يا أخي والله اشتي شمس اشتي حمام
صحراوي.
والله أنا صحراوي. I grew up skateboarding in the streets. That's the skate culture that I know. It's the one that I enjoy. But a lot of the people that I'm competing against are going to be skateboarders that have had access to skate parks and ramps for most of their skateboarding life. You know, you think 45 seconds, that's nothing. But when you're in the moment, when you're pumping as hard as you can, with the pressure of being at a competition and surrounded by an audience, you know, that really raises the stakes. So we're timing ourselves to the 45 seconds. It's like 1, 2, 3, go.
$15 more seconds.
The skate park is going to look a lot like this. There's going to be a bank on one side, a quarter pipe on the other side, and lots of obstacles in between. So practicing this run specifically is pretty much what we're going to be doing exactly, but just with a few more obstacles in the way. And try to envision that you're there, because like there's going to be hundreds of people watching, lots of noise. واحد اثنين ثلاثة. Keep going, keep going. More misses than makes is pretty much the norm. Infinite failures. You're constantly falling. I think that's one of the good things about skateboarding is it kind of gives you that thick skin.
Thick skin will be needed to make the Olympics. In order to score enough points in their qualifier, the pair who grew up skating the ancient streets of Sana'a will have to master the foreign environment of skate parks.
Yeah, I'm so glad we came to this park. Some of like these rails and this is exactly what I need to be doing for the comp. So it's good to just be able to go over and over and get the practice in.
But in addition to training for the Olympics, Ryan has an even larger goal.
I'm looking to get a board. I'm trying to send this board abroad, sending it to Yemen.
Okay, we have this. It's pretty basic.
Okay,
It's
you know, this is actually perfect right here. And what I like about this is that it's got the peace dove. After all those years of being in Yemen and not having access to skateboards, not having skate parks, I would definitely like to try and make it easier for interested skaters in Yemen today. Just a single skateboard for now, but sometimes that's all it takes. Just one board, just drop it into a park with some kids, and it's just gonna spark, you know, a whole new wave of interest. Whatever kid gets this in Yemen is gonna be like unbelievably stoked.
Hey guys.
Hey, coach.
The first video you sent me, you fit in a good amount of tricks here. You got the heel flip, the nose stall 180. Okay, so that you did 5 tricks in 20 seconds right there. No, that's not bad at all. And if you can double that, if you can do 10 tricks in 45 seconds.
So like 10 tricks should be the goal?
Yeah. We have just under 2 months to go. And in the end, this is us representing Yemen.
Anything you want us to focus on Saturday?
I want you to get more comfortable going fast.
So yeah, Kenny, when Ahmed was on his way here, I asked him to bring some like traditional Yemeni clothing, essentially. You're probably familiar with the shawl. Sometimes I see some of the skaters wearing like caps. So if they do that, can we do the shawl?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be awesome.
Today's all about gaining a lot of speed and just doing those grinds over and over and over. When the war came, it just devastated everything, you know?
That's such a shame.
So out of the whole crew that used to exist in Yemen, Amr and I are pretty much the only ones that continued skating. About to start setting boards back again and, see if we can get the whole skate scene going up again.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Where is Yemen in relation to Lebanon? Okay.
So if you just keep going south from Lebanon until you hit the sea, that's right where Yemen is.
Okay, stoked to see you doing this. It's sick.
Hell yeah, just watching. Oh yeah, sure did. I feel like there are even sections of my shins where I don't even have nerves anymore. Like when I do this, I can't feel it. Might do a river plunge or something like that later.
In one of their final tune-ups before the qualifier, Ryan and Amr returned to the skate park to test their final runs.
The park's kind of divided into 2 halves. You got these obstacles right here and then that second side right there. So let me show you what I'm thinking of doing. Drop in on the quarter pipe and go around. Just a quick slide.
Doubling the amount of tricks while also maintaining full speed is what it will take for them to ultimately succeed and make the Olympics.
And see if we can get it in under 45 seconds.
Ready? Let's get it.
When I was a young skateboarder in Yemen, if I saw some other Yemeni skateboarder that was doing competitions and going to events like the Olympics, they would have been amazing for me. It would have been super inspirational. To be there in the most important international event in the world, an event that really puts forward national identity,
Yeah!
and to come in there with a Yemeni flag, that would be so powerful.
No. Harakatuk.
Representation is very important. When you see someone like yourself doing something, that can really make a difference.
Woo! Yes. Thanks, man.
Time for me to pass it forward and take the gifts and opportunities that have been given to me and try to create them for the next generation. My long-term goals are to redevelop a skate scene in Yemen. It would be amazing to one day be able to take a Yemeni team to the Olympics with institutions to back them. One of the primary motivations that I have with going to this Olympic qualifier, with hoisting the Yemeni flag on the international scene, is to bring awareness to Yemen. And it's good that that awareness comes through humanitarian efforts, or that it comes through activist efforts or news. But it's also important for awareness of Yemen to come through athletes, to come through musicians, to come through artists, to come through in a positive light. And I'm honored to be able to do that for skateboarding and through skateboarding.